Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about the sedimentation rate of particles in a suspension. That is how the particles settle and how to control that. So it is a very important question. You can expect this for long mark. What explain Stokes law or write about the sedimentation of particles. This question can be asked in various ways, like how to control the rate of settling, what is Stokes law, right, explain with an equation. So this is a very important topic yet very easy. So please try to understand, and this is from Remington's settling and its control. So we know that the dispersed particle in a suspension, now we know that there are dispersed particle and dispersion medium. So dispersed particle is your external phase, right, and your dispersion medium is your internal phase. To control the settling of this dispersed material, which is nothing but your solid particles, so in order to control the settling of dispersed particles, the pharmacist must be aware of the physical factors that will affect the rate of sedimentation of particles. So a pharmacist must know all the factors which are affecting the rate of sedimentation of particles. There are various coefficients which are used to express the amount of flocculation in a system. So we have already discussed what is meant by flocculation and deflocculation. Flocculation is nothing but flocks. Loose flocks, nothing but aggregates of particles will be formed which tend to settle faster, whereas deflocculated state means the particles remain suspended individually and then there the rate of settling will be less compared to a flocculation system. Okay, we have seen the differences also. The rate of sedimentation will be slow in deflocculated state, whereas it is high in flocculated state. Then when in flocculated state, the sediment will be rapidly formed because the flocks settle rapidly, whereas the sediment will be slowly formed in a deflocculated system. Okay, then we have seen hard cake which is formed, which is easy to redisperse, which has a pleasing appearance. A deflocculated will have a pleasing appearance, right, because there are individual particles, they are suspended, they remain suspended, they settle very slow, so that is pleasing in appearance. So that is also very important questions, the differences between the flocculated and deflocculated system. Okay, so coming to the sedimentation rate. So the rate at which the particles in a suspension sediment, okay, the rate at which they come down, they settle at the bottom, it is related to number 1 size of the particle, density of the particle, and number 3 viscosity of the suspension medium. So this is nothing but a dispersion medium, the fluid, the viscosity of that and the size and density of the particles, that is related to a sedimentation rate. Okay, the Brownian movement may exert a significant effect. Brownian movement means, Brownian movement, it is nothing but the random motion of the particles suspended in a medium. So this Brownian movement, it may exert a significant effect on the sedimentation rate, and also the presence or absence of flocculation will also affect the sedimentation rate. So what is flocculation we also know. So even if flocculation is present or it is absent, how it will affect the sedimentation rate, that we'll see now. Okay, so in order to express this settling, with the velocity of the sedimentation of a uniform collection of spherical particles, it is governed by the Stokes law. So the velocity of sedimentation of a uniform, you know there are many spherical particles in a suspension, it is not just one single particle, so there is many collection of particles. So thus for that particular collection of particles, how the velocity of sedimentation, it is governed by a Stokes law. Velocity means the rate at which they settle, right, so the rate of sedimentation of that uniform collection of particles, it is given by the Stokes law, and that is expressed as V is equal to 2r square into rho 1 minus rho 2 into g by 9 eta. Okay, so this sedimentation rate, it is given by the equation V is equal to 2r square into rho 1 minus rho 2 into g by 9 eta. So what are those terms? We will have a look now. V is nothing but a terminal velocity in centimeter per second. Okay, V is the terminal velocity in centimeter per second. R is a radius of particle in centimeter. Then rho 1 and rho 2 are the densities, that is in gram per centimeter cube of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. The gram per centimeter cube, you know the unit of density, this is radius, this is velocity. Gram per centimeter cube, this is of dispersed phase, this is of dispersion medium. So this is velocity, okay, velocity of the terminal velocity in centimeter per second. R is the radius of the particle. These two are the densities of dispersed phase, dispersion medium. G is the acceleration due to gravity. The normal units are 9.8 meter per second square or 980 centimeter per second square. So you know the units of G is equal to 980 centimeter per second square. G is acceleration due to gravity. And the last term is your eta. So eta is nothing but your viscosity of the dispersion medium in poise. Okay, eta is equal to viscosity of the dispersion medium in poise. So poise is nothing but gram per centimeter second. Poise is expressed as gram by centimeter second, and that is a viscosity of the dispersion medium. Okay, so this is with the Stokes law equation. So you can see the velocity, the rate of sedimentation, it is directly proportional to radius. If the radius is more, the velocity, that means the particles will settle more. It is inversely proportional to viscosity. Less viscosity means they will remain suspended. More viscosity means what? More viscosity is less sedimentation. Less viscosity is more sedimentation. But in high viscosity is also undesirable, because if the system is high viscous, you cannot pour out, you cannot take out a uniform dose from the suspension bottle. Okay, this is a density. It is directly proportional to density. Lower the density, then lower will be the settling. Okay, then this Stokes law holds good only if the downward motion of particles is not sufficiently rapid to cause turbulence. That means turbulence, when will turbulence occur? Turbulence is nothing but very turbid, it is not at all clear. So if the settling is very fast, that means the downward motion of particles is very fast, then the Stokes law cannot be applied. Okay, so Stokes law holds good only if the downward motion is not rapid to cause turbulence. And you know micelles are large particles, so these micelles and small vesicles, they will not settle unless they are subjected to centrifugation. You know, centrifugation is nothing but in which you are subjecting them to high speed. At high rotation they are rotating. Unless and until the micelles and vesicles are centrifuged, they will not settle. Okay, so this we have seen, sedimentation velocity will be reduced by decreasing the particle size. So lower the particle size, lower the sedimentation velocity, provided that the particles are kept in deflocculated state. So deflocculated state means what? The particles, if they are remaining individually, then only you can reduce the sedimentation velocity. And one more thing we have discussed, the rate of sedimentation is an inverse function of viscosity. Yes, inverse function of viscosity of the dispersion medium. Okay, so that means high viscosity, low sedimentation. Low viscosity, high sedimentation. Okay, but high viscosity, you want low sedimentation. So for low sedimentation, the viscosity should be high. But as I have told you, too viscosity, however, too high viscosity will be undesirable. Why it will be undesirable? Because it is not, you cannot resuspend it, and you cannot take out uniform dose from the particle. So that is why velocity also should not be too high. Okay, and viscosity should not be high, especially if the suspending medium is Newtonian fluid rather than shear thinning fluid. So this you should know what do you mean by Newtonian fluid and non-Newtonian fluid. Newtonian fluids are those that how much ever pressure you apply, the viscosity will remain constant. Newtonian fluids are those in which the viscosity remains constant even if the shear rate increases. But shear thinning fluids are those, if you increase the pressure or if shear rate increases, the viscosity decreases. Those are your shear thinning fluids. Example of shear thinning fluids is a whipped cream. If you have seen how cream is formed, first it is somewhat thicker in consistency, but as you increase the shear rate, it becomes thin, viscosity decreases. So those are your shear thinning fluids. Newtonian fluids like a water, alcohol, how much ever pressure or shear you increase, the viscosity will remain constant. Okay, so this is with that. So too high viscosity is undesirable, even if you are especially if your suspending medium is Newtonian rather than shear thinning, because if it is shear thinning, the viscosity will decrease, right? But if it is Newtonian, how much ever shear you apply, the viscosity will remain same. So it should not be high viscous. If you are using Newtonian fluid for formulation, your suspension the viscosity, it should not be too high, because even if you are increasing the pressure, the viscosity will not decrease. So that is why, especially if your suspension medium or your dispersion medium is a Newtonian fluid, it should not be too viscous, because anyways it is not going to decrease viscosity. Whereas in shear thinning, the viscosity can decrease, right? I hope you understood this point. Then as I have already told you, it is inconvenient to remove a viscous suspension from a container. Okay, then when the size of the particles undergoing Brownian movement is like 2 micrometer, the random Brownian movement is observed. So when the random motion, if the size of the particles is around 2 micrometer in the suspension medium, then you can see the random Brownian movement can be observed. Okay, and the rate of sedimentation, it differs from the theoretical predictions of your Stokes law. The actual size at which Brownian movement becomes significant, it depends on the density of the particle as well as the viscosity of the dispersion medium. So it is nothing but he is telling that the actual size, okay, the actual size of the particle at which you can see Brownian movement, it depends on the particles and also the viscosity of the suspension medium. So it depends on the viscosity and it also depends on the particles. Okay, now we'll see the effect of flocculation and deflocculation on sedimentation rate. How it differs. Okay, so first of all, in a deflocculated state, if the system is a deflocculated one, okay, so deflocculated means individual. In a deflocculated system containing the distribution of particle sizes, the larger particles will settle faster than the smaller particles. You know, larger particles, they are heavy, so they will settle fast than your smaller particles. That is in deflocculated system. The very small particles remain suspended for a considerable length of time. Okay, so if they are very small, they will remain suspended in the medium, with the result that no distinct boundary is formed between supernatant and the sediment. That means there is no clear boundary. You cannot say, because the rate of settling is very slow, so you cannot separate the supernatant and sediment. You cannot separate by a boundary. Okay, so there is no distinct boundary between a supernatant and the sediment. Okay, even when the sediment becomes discernible means evident, even if we can see the because the rate of sedimentation is very slow in a deflocculated system, I have told you. Even when the sediment becomes visible, the supernatant remains cloudy. Okay, so in this deflocculated system, nothing you have to remember, just the larger particles will settle faster and the very small particles, they will remain suspended. So there is no clear differentiation. You cannot say that there is no clear boundary, because the settling is very less. If the settling is very high, then you can clearly distinguish between supernatant and the sediment. So there will be a clear boundary. So here there is no distinct boundary, no clear boundary between the supernatant and the sediment. This is with a deflocculated system. Okay, but when the same system becomes flocculated, when the same system is flocculated, two effects are apparent. What are those two effects when the system becomes flocculated? First, in a flocculated system, the flocks will be formed, the aggregates of particles. First, the flocks tend to fall together. Okay, flocks. So a distinct boundary is seen between the sediment and the supernatant. When the flocks are aggregating and they are falling together, you can clearly see a boundary between the sediment and the supernatant. So this is the first effect. Second, the supernatant is clear, showing that the very fine particles have been incorporated into the flocks. So in this, you have seen very small particles, they remain suspended. Okay, and there is no clear boundary. Here there is a clear boundary, and one more effect is supernatant is clear. Here supernatant remains cloudy because the particles are suspended all together in a suspension. Here the supernatant is clear, showing that the very fine particles, they have also been settled. Flocks means they have been incorporated into the aggregates of particles which are settled. So the initial rate of settling in a flocculated systems is determined by the size of the flocks and the porosity of the aggregated mass. So the rate of settling in this is determined by the size of the flocks. How larger the flocks, if the size is larger, then the sedimentation also will be rapid. So the rate of settling is determined by the size of flocks and the porosity of those flocks, porosity of that aggregated flocks mass, which is nothing but your aggregated mass is nothing but your flocks. So porosity of the flocks. Okay, so I think this is very clear. This is very, very important. Please go through the video and make notes from this and refer Remington's. In case of any doubts, please let me know, but please try to understand. It is very, very simple. Thank you.